to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Bears are doing well. They're second overall pick. They're doing their job.
At least you have something to look forward to sports-wise, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I say that this, there's something about when your team is bad and you're like rooting for them to lose for like draft purposes.
Oh god, yeah.
It's actually so enjoyable because like if you're used to your team sucking and you're like rooting for them not to win, they're actually like competent at that. Like you're actually like, oh my god, is this what it's like to watch a team win?
They're winning something.
Yeah.
Speaking of not winning things, this is gonna be a tough Kepi Keeper by DraftKings. So obviously for us in Ohio, you gotta wait until January, but you can sign up now.
Mm-hmm.
You can sign up for DraftKings now. You want to bet on like a former player of yours, scoring against you, you can do that.
Yeah.
Just put
That's
$5 down. Yeah, it's pretty predictable. It happens a lot more than people think.
Yep.
But sign up with an official betting partner of the NHL. Put $5 down pregame for your money line, and you can get $150 in free bets if they win.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you want to bet on a former player scoring against your team?
Mm-hmm.
Probably make a decent payday on that.
Yeah,
I know that happens with
on your number one rival coming to your stadium of 100,000 plus and kicking the shit out of you for 4 quarters. You do that.
You want to bet on getting kicked up and down the ice and still finding some way to come back? You can do that.
Yeah. Hockey.
Combine your bets with the same game parlay. You get bigger payouts with your parlays, so you can bet on, I don't know, like I've rehashed this point, a former player of yours coming in and scoring against you, and maybe a dub.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a lot bigger payout with that. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code THPN. Put down $5 on any NHL team to win the game and get $150 in free bets if they do, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with the code THPN. As always, description disclaimer. Go there. Ohio, sign up, and in January you get to start.
Oh.
Here we go. Mine's going to JG13 because this dude is now above a point per game, and he has pretty much been the only guy that's been a bright spot over the last like 3-4 games.
Yeah,
because he's just continuing to do his thing.
Yeah, he was excellent. As specifically in the Knights game, I thought the top line was the most notable part of that game, and again, it's what we've discussed a few times throughout this season.
Yep.
Is that the Blue Jackets' best line outside of the fourth line of Robbie, Corrali, and Olivier has been when they've put Gus Nyquist up on top with Gaudreau and Jenner. And
at least with Patty out.
Yes, and frankly, as long as Patty's out, I don't see no reason to change that. I don't see what you gain by splitting it up. It's your best line. Stick with it.
Yeah.
And they delivered. I mean, Gus Nyquist had 2 assists in the game, so I'm gonna give it to him.
You go with Gus? Yeah. I still love this guy.
Yeah. It's interesting because we've gone through kind of like this whole off season with this thought that, when we signed Johnny Gaudreau, like, oh, that means Gus is probably the odd man out. It turns out, because of his contract and where the team sat.
They made different moves in order to make the room, and I'm still kind of sad. I'm glad Oliver's doing well.
Considering what were the offers were for other players, particularly James Van Riemsdyk,
Mhm.
you probably would have had to have parted with a first-round pick to get rid of Gus Nyko's contract,
Right.
considering the circumstances, because teams are trying to weaponize their cap space.
Mhm.
Say what you want about Jarmo Kekalainen. Thank fucking God he did not get rid of a first-round pick.
Ugh.
Even if he protected it, it could have been dangerous. You know what I mean?
With a draft
Right.
class like this,
Yeah.
and with the way that the season's just played out so far, like we're over a quarter of the way in now, and this has been way too much hell to pay already.
Yeah.
But hey, Gus is a great pick because he's one of those players that you know he's reliable,
Mm-hmm.
but he's also one that like we've had the storylines over the last few weeks of the fourth line becoming its own thing. We've had KJ and Yegor stepping up. We had
Yeah.
Bemstrom
They've
step up when
been-
he's been here. That pushed Gus a lot further down in the discussions.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, kind of as you mentioned, like, you don't really talk about it because it's just expected, I would guess, to say. You know,
To see a hard day's work out of Gustav Nyquist, hell yeah, it is.
yeah.
And
Yeah, it doesn't get talked about.
Johnny Gaudreau's going to do Johnny Gaudreau things. You know Boone Jenner's going to do Boone Jenner things. Gus Nyquist
Right.
does Gus Nyquist things.
And I think they're really good together, and I would keep it together, as we mentioned. But the reason that I'm intrigued by him is because, as I mentioned, like, we kind of thought that he'd be dealt this offseason. He wasn't. They went with Bjorkstrand instead so they could keep their draft assets.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there's any potential outcome, because we've thought about upcoming trade deadline and
To still do it?
who you can deal to get more assets. Are you going to trade Gavrikov? Nyquist has an expiring contract. I'm wondering if they're even considering dealing him. And I think that question will be answered depending on if he wants to stay, if he's willing to sign an extension, and what the money looks like. Because I think if he's willing to stay,
how old is he?
Price, Yarmo would probably keep him.
How old is he?
He's only 31 or 32.
Okay, so that's not too bad.
No, he's really not that old. I mean, you're not going to commit to him more than 3 years again on a contract. So, let me just check real quick. He is, let's see. He's 30. Oh, he's 33. Okay.
Okay,
So, because he just turned 33 in September.
Got it. So 2-3-year contract extension or new deal or whatever.
A 2-year deal, you'd have him for his age, 34 and 35. So, like, and with his speed and how he plays, it's not like he's just going to fall off a cliff in the next 2 years. I would worry about giving him 3 or more, obviously. But if you're to give him a 2-year deal, I wouldn't be too concerned about any drop off, significant at least.
No, and he also, I guess we're coming out of Kepi's. Johnny Gaudreau, Gus Nyquist. There you go. We talked about this a lot with Gus last year. He was phenomenal penalty killer, great shorthanded.
Yeah.
He
was a weapon on the penalty kill, like, offensively.
Yeah, you could count on at least 1 or 2 shorthanded chances, like, per kill from him.
Because he's so fast and he's such a good skater, that they literally used him as a weapon a little bit, because if you turn the puck over, that's the threat.
Yeah.
Normally you turn the puck over on the penalty kill, they're just going to dump it down the ice. It's not really a big deal. But a lot of times last year, the Blue Jackets, we're shorthanded, but we're gonna go down the ice. That's what we want to do. That was our identity last year.
Get the goose loose, baby.
Ice. And yeah, we saw opportunities like that. We saw Gus make plays shorthanded. We saw Sean Corrali make plays shorthanded.
Robbie made a lot of good shorthanded plays.
Speaking of skating, Eric Robinson.
I want to see Gus and Robbie like just burn everybody on a penalty kill together.
Yeah.
Like that just sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So get into the games. Montreal. I, I don't even
That was a
know.
frustrating one. That was one of the
here's
more frustrating ones this season. I'm not gonna lie to you.
so we've had just looking at the calendar here. We had 3 games. 4 were scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 that they played, a little bit of comeback kings, but just fallen short.
I guess so. Look, Vegas last night. I can easily live with this game.
Yeah.
Vegas is a really good team.
Going all the way to the shootout with Vegas, that's very respectable, I think.
I thought Tarasov played really well. He was close to getting the Cappy from me because I
Terra
thought
save, baby. Let's go.
he kept him in the game, made the saves that he needed to make. Didn't let the game get out of hand.
I can't attribute that. I gotta attribute that to the artillery guys. They tweeted Terra save, and I was like, "That's so good."
Oh, I like that. But yeah, so the defense is starting to come around a little bit. It looks more buttoned up.
Yeah, they're
even without the talent. They look more cohesive. It looks like players are buying into it more.
Gavrikov and Bjork is really interesting to me still because they're like really starting to gel.
Yeah. Which again, like I think and we've been hard on Brad Larson this year for I think good reason, but I'm gonna give him a little bit of credit in that in spite of the massive talent gap that you have on defense compared to a lot of these teams that you're facing, they're starting to button it up a little bit, lock it down, and even if they're not great defensively, great at moving the puck in their own zone, it's a more cohesive unit. Players are buying in. There's a commitment to what the system is.
Somebody's lengthening his leash over here.
A little bit. Not
literally like
not
2 weeks ago. You were like, "Do this now, cut ties now."
Yeah, I was. I'm not gonna deny that, but yeah, I will. The leash has been lengthened up a notch for him because his job hasn't been easy.
No. You've been without your superstar sniper. You've been without your number 1 defenseman, and you've been without half of your defense.
Yeah, and I made the case earlier that they were no good when they had those players, but again, this is where I give him a little bit more of a leash is how much of it is you implemented a new defensive system and you only had 12 games and your goaltending wasn't very good. And when I say wasn't very good, I mean worst in the league by a mile. Unbelievably bad.
Is it still like a 13-8 discrepancy?
Oh, dude,
or did it get worse?
It's like they're worse than the league, and it's
no, like because I remember you talked about this. The difference between 31 and 32 was like 8.4 to 13.4 or something like that in expected goals against.
Let me find this. It shouldn't take.
Yeah, see if you can find the updated version of that.
Bad. But
so Montreal.
To get back to the point, like his job hasn't been easy.
No.
I'm giving him a little bit longer because maybe it's just a case of you weren't getting saves. You're implementing a new defensive system, and then injuries happen. We have to see as more of these guys come back how they play.
Give them another month.
So team goaltending. This is as of two days ago. Goals saved above expected. 30th in league is San Jose at minus 5.6.
Okay.
31st is the LA Kings at minus 8.3.
Whoa.
Big gap there between San Jose and LA. LA is a good team, but they're not getting goaltending.
But because Quick looks okay at times. It's just like
Peterson's been brutal.
Pal, buddy, this is supposed to be your time.
Man.
Like, come on, man.
And in 30 seconds.
Where's What's the difference?
Minus 14.
Oh, all right. I love how I'm just resigned to this now.
Okay. Who's first in the league?
Who's first?
And like first, it's not even close. Like
Right.
remotely
Right.
close.
I'm trying to think.
Second in the league is Winnipeg at plus 14.1. Third is Boston at plus 11.3.
Okay.
The team in first is plus 22.3.
Oh my god. Oh wait, it's got to be Boston, right? Because Olmark is just
No,
out of his.
Boston's
It's not.
third.
Boston's
third.
Boston's third. Okay. I don't know if it's. Is it our boys in New Jersey?
No, they're sixth at
No,
plus
okay.
8.6.
Let me give it one more shot. Oh, I'm just trying to think because. Wait a minute. Is Carter still being that good? Is it Philly?
He's fourth. They're
He's
fourth.
fourth. Okay, who is it?
11.1. It is the New York Islanders. Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov are just dominant.
No wonder Ilya got second star of the week this week, right? Or was it for the month? No, because they don't do that yet. No, because it was Sorokin and Robertson and Morrissey. I think that was the stars of this past week.
Yeah. So Varlamov is 13th in the league with a .916 save percentage and a .284 goals against average. Sorokin is second in the league.
Wow.
Percentage with a .933 and a .219 goals against average. And this is behind a defense that I think last time I checked was ranked 30th.
And I mean, Boston's is also really beat up. It's just Olmark has been out of his mind.
5-on-5 expected goals against per 60. Islanders are in 30th. The only two teams worse, Arizona and Anaheim.
Oh wow. Okay, so getting back to the point of the rest of this homestand, whatever. Montreal, very disappointed.
Very disappointing.
Because you score first and you completely blow it open.
Because, like I was texting you during that game because it had the feel of most hockey games where you go into a game and it's scoreless after two. Teams are getting their chances. Goalies are standing on their heads. 9 times out of 10, the team that scores first is going to win that game.
Yes.
You capitalize on a horrific Mike Matheson turnover, and Olivier, beautiful shot.
I love it. That's
uses
my
him as a
thing.
screen. It's a really good play by Olivier. Makes it 1-0, and you just get this feel of like, oh my god, that's awesome! Like you might be able to take this home. Like this would be a good win to have. And then just immediately they tie it up, and then quickly after that they make it 2-1. It's like all of that for what? Did it
have to be savvy? Did it have to be savvy?
Well, last week when we actually beat them, it was Josh Anderson.
It was Josh, right?
It wasn't Josh. It was going to be David. I'll give Sam Montembeault deserves a ton of credit. He's actually having a really good year. Yeah. His only real bad start was against us, and then he followed it up the next week against us with a really good start. So like, not to take any credit away from him, but it felt like a game. It just felt like another case of letting your goaltenders down.
Yes,
because Korpisalo played well.
It's like, I love that Tara's picking up emergency duty well.
Yeah,
and he's showing what he needs to show while guys are out.
I'm not like, don't get me wrong, Korpisalo has played well, in my opinion, considering the circumstances.
He's played so much better than he's done in the last cut. I
think he's played better than what his numbers say.
Yes.
To me, like, your 3 best goaltending performances of the season have all been Daniil.
Right.
With the best coming against the Rangers.
Oh yeah, that's easily the best
against the Panthers. And then this last game against Vegas.
I'm so happy he won that game too. Like,
yeah, he's got
just getting to be there against the Panthers.
Like last night,
like that was great.
And I know this almost sounds like a loser's mentality, but last night almost felt like a win because
I-
Vegas is just so good.
How good is Paul Cotter, eh?
Yeah, he's
Kid's
got some
awesome.
skill to his game, man.
Kid's awesome. And Jack is like finally feeling himself again. That's
Hope that he's
really cool.
okay because that was a really
Well, he
weird.
came back, didn't he? I think he
I don't
came
know, did he?
back. I think he returned.
Okay.
So
But
the
yeah,
game
just hope
against
he's okay.
the Islanders, I don't know what to say about that other than it's just another one of those like
Again, you come back. Like,
yeah, it's good to see that the mentality behind this team being able to make these comebacks hasn't gone away.
yeah, because
The
we saw
fight back in
last
these
year.
teams is
But it's the two. There's two sides to the coin, almost three sides to the coin. Okay, one is it is nice that they can come back in games.
mhm.
The other side, can we have better starts? Can we
Start better,
stop putting ourselves in a position where we have to?
or if you get to that point, finish them off.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that's the additional side to the coin. If you're gonna come back, don't lose. Just don't lose. You know what I
just
mean?
hold it
Like,
off,
just win.
or
If
just
you're gonna come back.
like yeah.
Don't go down 2-0 to an Islanders team who gets really good goaltending and then get a 5-on-3 power play and score a goal to make it 2-1, take the momentum, score on that other power play, tie the game at 2. You go into the intermission, everybody's feeling great, like, oh my gosh, they're gaining momentum, and then last period you don't do anything and you lose 3-2.
Props to Brock. He's still one of my favorite Islanders.
Brock
He's
has
great.
been, I would argue, the most consistent player forward for the Islanders this year.
At least Matt has a couple of goals now too.
Yeah. Brock
And
Nelson's just a pain in the ass to play against.
yes, he is.
Really is. That's a guy I think you watch him, you want him on your team.
That's a guy you want to. That's one of those stereotypical you want that guy on your team.
Yeah.
Yes. We talked about Vegas enough, I think. And then the weird one that it was supposed to be a back-to-back at home against the Islanders and then going to Nashville.
Yeah, I think this
And
team
then
used a game against the Nashville Predators.
here's the funny thing. Both this past Saturday and the Friday before that, or maybe the Thursday, because remember there was the game that they were supposed to play against the Avalanche, the Predators.
Yes. The Matt Duchene Bowl.
The Matt Duchene Bowl.
Followed up by another Matt Duchene Bowl.
How weird is that? The Seth Jones Bowl.
Yeah.
Even though
And,
Seth's no longer there. The Joey Bowl.
Yeah.
It's God, there's
The Scott Hartnell
What-
Bowl.
the Hearts. What is it with us and the Predators' relationship with getting their players like in swapping and what? It's like what Toronto has with St. Louis for whatever weird reason.
I was also thinking, like, me and my buddy Drew, were talking about this. He's a Flyers fan, and we were like thinking about it. We're like, the Flyers and Blue Jackets have actually made like a lot of trades with each other.
Yeah, they have.
You know,
The original Voracek deal, this current Voracek deal.
yeah, the Hartnell deal, the Bobrovsky deal, the Steve Mason deal.
Yeah,
A lot of trades between these two teams.
it's weird.
Anyway, yeah, but yeah, so like it was what is it, a water main break or something like that in the
Yeah, something happened to their piping system.
sounds like a problem.
Yeah. Something happened to the piping
You know,
system.
that's what
at
happens when an
Bridgestone,
ambulance
and
comes
it's-
to town, though.
Okay, I gotta give you that one. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Damn,
so
that's good.
but it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Look,
Oh, that's a great reference right there.
that's our Thanksgiving tradition to watch Christmas Vacation.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
It's one of my all-time favorites. So the Nashville game got postponed. We have no idea when they're going to make that up.
Yeah.
And then we don't play again until Friday in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So we got some time to like take a breather, fans.
Yep. I know like they have to reschedule that game, but like Gary, you really don't. Nobody wants to watch that. I promise you, nobody wants to watch Blue Jackets Predators.
With the way the Preds have been,
Both teams, like, God,
who could have predicted this?
That?
Who could have predicted this after like the off seasons that they had? Like, because we had so much hype around ours.
What did the Predators do? Am I forgetting something?
I mean, they at least
They got Nino.
They got Nino was probably their biggest piece, I guess.
Yeah. The problem is they retained John Hines.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably it. I think they brought Granny back.
He hasn't done like anything for them in years. He's just kind of there.
They brought Granlund back. Cody Glass made the team, and he's been prominent.
I mean, that's a good story right there for sure.
Good for Cody. They got rid of Matthew Olivier. I the Olivier thing is like,
oh, that was the thing. We're idiots. They brought in McDonough.
Oh yeah, Ryan McDonough. What the fuck?
I was like, they did something.
They did something that was pretty big. Yeah, it was Ryan McDonough. I do love the whole Olivier like cheer thing. That's like my new favorite thing. That's why I made it a show title. Right?
Yeah.
It's just fun to do that. Couple more Blue Jackets things that are housekeeping things. We called up our Buckeye boy. Carson Meyer's up with the team now.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's good to see Carson back.
Yeah.
Bolster up some bottom six.
Right.
Like, we know what Carson does.
He's a speedy guy. Got a little bit of skill to his game, but he's not really a full-time NHL guy. He's a tweener.
He's a tweener right now.
You know.
And
I don't know. I'm happy. Like it's cool for him to get another shot up here, but
and how many times do I rehash the point about getting your local talent in your team? And how fun of a story that is.
Yeah, it helps grow the game locally.
Yeah. So yeah, the Buckeyes back, and Jordan Dumais. That's the big one.
That's the big one.
Jordan Dumais gets his entry-level contract signed. It's pretty nice for number 69 there.
I would say so.
What can we say about this kid? Is he still on his just complete tear this season? Like, has he stopped? Has he been stopped yet?
He has 54 points in 24 games.
Oh my God. Is he still like scoring every single game?
19 goals in the 24 games.
Is he still scoring in every single game?
It feels like it. It's just disgusting.
Because remember, he had that streak that dated all the way back through last year. Yeah. Like at some point last year.
I'm just going to provide a stat. I'm not saying any extra words to it. I'm just providing a stat, and that's all.
Okay.
Leaders in points for the CHL.
Uh-huh.
Second with 53 points is Connor Bedard. First is Jordan Dumais.
Wow.
All I'm doing, I'm just providing stats for you. That's all I'm doing.
Yep, I'm sure that's all you're doing. It's just a casual look. This kid was
this is from Byron Bader. No forwards from the 2022 draft have seen a bigger jump in production than Jimmy Snuggerud from the
Yes.
And Jordan Dumais. His star probability went from 23% to 47%.
Wow.
his like pre-draft comps.
Mm-hmm.
Martin St. Louis, Ray Ferraro, Brendan Perlini, Thomas Vanek, Ray Whitney, somewhere in that range.
So like one extremely elite player, elite short king. Ray Ferraro is interesting.
This is the one that I like too.
Yeah.
Full comps, okay?
Go
Michael
for it.
Del Cole, Jonathan Huberdeau, Corey Emerton, Patrice Bergeron, Alexander Vitov.
Hubie and Bergie, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. That's wow.
We got him 96th overall. I would like to repeat that there were 95 players selected before this guy was.
3rd round pick, people.
Yeah.
And he's their captain, right? He's Moose Jaw's captain? Or Moose Jaw no, because Moose Head.
Yeah.
The Halifax. Right, because Moose Jaw is Matichuk.
Moose Jaw Warriors, yeah, Matichuk.
Yeah, Matichuk's the Moose Jaw Warriors captain. You know, just casually, Blue Jackets prospects being leaders on their teams. He's not their captain.
Attilio Biasca from Zug, Switzerland.
Zug.
Yeah. Artem Zub.
Zub. I love Artem Zub. He's great. I'm happy from what I saw out of Dumais at camp. Right? He looked like one of those prospects that's not going to take too long to make it.
Right.
Right? Well, he's not going to simmer for too long.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted him to maybe make the jump to the American Hockey League next year to give him a little bit of seasoning there first.
Maybe one more year in juniors. I don't know.
Potentially,
yeah. Play that safe.
Yeah, that may be what they do, but you are going to see him play NHL games next season at some point. Even if it's just 5, he will be playing.
He could very well get his tryout as soon as next year.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh my God, congrats to Jordan, because wow, did he deserve it. And I thought, like, I saw somebody when I shared it. Yes, it was one of our Vancouver friends in the Discord, Scarlett. They said that they thought we were going to wait until the end of the year to do that.
To give him a contract?
To give his contract, yeah. Like, just wait until the summer.
Interesting. I mean, it doesn't really matter when you give it because, you're not burning up any years with him playing.
Right.
But I think it's a scenario, like, they wanted to get this done sooner rather than later because you don't want to risk any chance that he doesn't sign with you, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I definitely understand that. Like, if you have a guy that's been this electric, why wouldn't you go ahead and get that deal done? Right? Especially if it's your standard entry-level deal. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats to Jordan. And now we're going to take a pretty nice.
Yeah, very nice.
We're going to take a really hard turn.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm wearing the Kivy hat and the Marner jersey. Got my Leaf jersey on today. American Thanksgiving comes around. And we're ready to, like, celebrate with dinner and whatever.
Yeah.
And news that shocked the hockey world. And I mean, we talked about him in a recent episode because we talked about the ceremonies.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Börje Salming has passed away.
71 years old. We talked about just what an incredible life he lived.
Yes, how amazing his career was.
I can't remember who said it.
Very outside our era.
Yeah, outside our era for sure, but such an impactful player for what he did.
Yes.
For foreign players. Um, I can't remember who said, but someone said like something amongst the lines like comparing for him, and maybe Börje said it himself, like someone speaking for him is like kind of that ceremony was almost kind of like being able to attend your own funeral.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
Oh. Well, because
And I don't mean like it's not meant in like a weird way. It's
like
meant
as
in like a
yeah,
really
like
cool
that sounds
like
morbid.
it's very it does sound morbid, but like how cool is it like before you go to have the chance to see the impact you had and
Yeah.
feel it and feel the love and you know we saw him break down. You can obviously see like how how he took it and how much it meant to him. Like that's
Him
such
and
a cool moment for
him and
someone.
Daryl Sittler together. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. It's a really unique and very touching moment that I'm certainly not never going to forget because how quickly it kind of transpired.
Yes, and like a couple of days prior to Thanksgiving, right? His wife said he was no longer making his public appearances.
Believe so. Yeah.
It was
So
like a day or two before Thanksgiving.
yeah, it all happened very fast. So it seems obvious to me that they very much knew that it was right there at the end for his life.
Yeah.
Um, they made the most of it, and you know he lived
And
for 71 years, and he made the most of his life.
and we are reaching out to all of our Leaf friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're here with you.
Yeah.
And everybody in the hockey sphere. I can put this link in the description like before the typical disclaimer stuff. Um Donate to the Börje Salming ALS Foundation.
Yeah.
The how do I pronounce this? The Stiftelts. I apologize if I butcher that. Our Swedish friends, if we have any.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's his foundation, and I'll leave a link in the
Yeah.
description for that. Because it funds ALS research.
Yeah. And ALS is just such a devastating disease. You know, it's your condition, whatever it is. Like it's brutal, and there's no true, you know, there's no solution to it. There's no,
He lost his ability to speak. He couldn't even speak at his own ceremony.
yeah,
How? Ugh. Can you imagine having a ceremony and wanting to give a speech, but you can't?
yeah,
You physically cannot.
man, no stink.
It's it's heartbreaking, man. And
But I think that it's almost like part of what made it so unique was he didn't have to speak,
right.
no words spoken, and it's just an unbelievable tribute and
Did you see the
response.
patch that they made?
Yeah.
The big
Mm-hmm.
Ballard style leaf
Yeah.
with Borea on it, and then the Trey Krona crown on top of it.
Really
It
cool.
was awesome.
Really, really cool.
It was super cool. And I
So
hope
rest in peace to Börje Salming and condolences to his family and to Leafs fans
yes.
for a legend.
And this is another passing that I wanted to touch on, and pop culture stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We touch on pop culture stuff when we want to, when we can,
Mm-hmm.
when it's at least decent big news.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever grew up a Power Rangers fan.
No, I never watched any of it.
No. I grew up on Dino Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents had a copy of the Mighty Morphin movie. And then a little later on, I got into like Jungle Fury on Jetix when I could watch those reruns.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I think I had a DVD for Ninja Storm as well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Power Ranger, Jason David Frank, he had also passed away over the last week at age 49.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he wasn't even 50, man. He's born the same year as my mom. And I loved, like, he started immediately in Power Rangers in the early 90s, because Power Rangers started in 93. He was the original green.
That's right. I thought I saw something about it. Yeah, this is the guy who I was thinking of. Yeah, that's only 49 years old.
He was the original Green Ranger, and then he was white. And he was awesome. His costume as the White Ranger was so awesome. And then he was red for a bit, I think in like Turbo. He's basically worn most of the colors that you could wear.
Right.
As a Power Ranger. At least in the American adaptation. Because the thing about Power Rangers is it's an adaptation of a Japanese series.
Right.
Just with like spliced in American shot story footage. Right? Because a lot of the Power Rangers scenes are from Super Sentai, like straight out of Super Sentai, with just dubs over it, right?
Yeah.
That's how you make a Power Rangers episode. That's just how that is. And Jason being Tommy Oliver, I mean, he became synonymous with Power Rangers with just his role as becoming like the first leader after being like under Rita Repulsa's control, and then making his, like, he was just he was the Power Ranger.
Right.
I keep saying that because it's really all I can say. And I grew up with him as the teacher, as the mentor. He was the Black Ranger in Dino Thunder. He was the unofficial second in command behind Connor. And that was when he was the actual teacher at Riverside High School in that series. Like he's got a PhD in paleontology at that point, while also doing, Power Rangers related research. Like Tommy Oliver devoted his life to this kind of mystical, crazy, alien world that he found himself in.
Right.
And it was such a fun character, such a great character. And he always had fun at the cons, meeting fans, everything. He met Stan Lee and got to like do stuff at cons with Stan Lee.
What a duo.
Like, it was awesome. And I tried doing research into why it happened.
Yeah.
And as of now, I couldn't find much. But it's just
For cause of death?
For cause of death.
They said it was suicide.
Suicide. Was it a depression?
All I saw was there was apparently a fight with his wife prior to it.
Oh, that's right. I think I did read something about a domestic issue as part of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, through it all, he was always happy to be around his fans and made things fun for everybody, made things fun for himself while he could.
Right.
Jason David Frank, Tommy Oliver, Power Ranger to the end, man. He kept the Ranger spirit just like around wherever he went.
Right.
And that's a big loss for that fandom. And I had been out on the fandom little after Jungle Fury. Like I kept tabs on certain series after that. And I always loved like the Morpher toys and things like that. I went as red superpowered Dino Thunder Ranger for Halloween when I was a kid, and my best friend was the Blue Ranger.
Nice.
Like one of our first years trick or treating together.
Yeah.
And that's how much like growing up Power Rangers had meant to me.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason David Frank was a big part of that.
Yeah. It really is unfortunate. Anytime, especially with something like suicide, like it's always incredibly sad, and it goes to show like
that just makes me think of the paper I wrote about all the rock singers passed away due to writing the paper on Chester and Chris.
Yeah,
and
that's the big one that you and I always go back to.
Is Chester?
The
yes,
one that we had most in common was Chester, because he was so unbelievably talented
and always so happy when you saw him. He's just
Yeah.
glowing.
Yeah,
and just fighting those demons.
It tells you how hard life can be and how delicate it is, and you shouldn't take it for granted.
I'm so happy I got to see Chester the one time I did.
I never got to see him.
I would have seen him twice, but he passed like a month before that concert would have been held.
Oh,
I know, it's brutal, but I mean, so Jason's family, all the Ranger family and the fandom,
all condolences.
all the, all of his cast member friends from throughout the 30 years of being a Power Ranger, right?
Years, yeah. I mean, he was 49, so he was young when he started.
Oh yeah, they were all kids.
Really young. Yeah. Damn.
Well, remember they were high schoolers. Like in the story, they're high schoolers.
See, I don't know anything about the story, so
it's always high school. It's always usually like high school kids. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that one hurt too.
Yeah.
That one was a kick to the chest. Literally.
Is that a Power Rangers reference?
It could be. It could be if you wanted me. But yeah, Boria, Jason David Frank, a couple of passings I wanted to touch on just because they hurt our community and the hockey community. They hurt a fandom that I was really close to. And it just, it was a bummer this week. So let's talk about something that's a little bit better, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
This broke this morning. As of recording this, Roope, there it is. We talk about Bruce, there it is. Roope, there it is.
Yeah, I think I like Roope.
You like Roope, there it is better?
Roope
Hintz.
What a deal.
Roope Hintz signs an 8-year extension with the Dallas Stars. $8.45 million per, so a total of 67.6.
Let me tell you,
that goes until 2030-31.
Yeah.
How to still be talking about like Morgan Riley's deal goes until 2030. Talking about deals that go until like 2029 to 2031 is like the weirdest sci-fi.
It reminds me
like
of the one John Mulaney bit where he was talking about like how he was in the process of buying a home, and he's like back in like I think I want to say like 2013 or 2015, and he's like talking with the contractor, and she's like, "Oh yeah, at least until like 2029 or whatnot." And he goes, and she goes, "What?" And he's like, "That's not a real year."
Yeah, exactly. I remember. It's funny because I remember when this decade turned.
Yeah.
And I was getting really into Nightmare on Film Street, this horror movie podcast that I still keep in touch with the community with. I need to go back and listen to some of the newer stuff.
Yeah.
But the first episode of 2020 was Silver Screams and like silent movies.
Yeah.
And it was Nosferatu and the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
I only know Nosferatu because of
Of
the
SpongeBob.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, both of those movies were 1920s movies, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known like anything about it. All I
You should watch Dr. Caligari. It's a
SpongeBob.
spooky ass movie. It's literally I've probably seen The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari like 5 times, and all of that was through school.
I prefer calamari.
Calamari is good. um I'm getting way off track with this. So Rope's deal is
Yeah, we're talking about Roope Hintz. How the fuck did we
how do we get to yeah?
Oh my god. Yeah. No, really good contract.
And this is after they inked the bridge deal for Jason and the
Yeah.
bridge deal for Otter.
Let me tell you, I think we have to give Jim Nill a lot of credit here because he has found a way to take those albatross Tyler Sagan and Jamie Benn contracts that were holding them back because you're relying on them as your stars.
Which, by the way, Jamie Benn having himself the resurgence that he's had this year.
But he's turned them into complementary pieces.
Yes.
And even though they're not being paid as complementary pieces, it's fine because his asset management and cap management has been very good. That you've got Jake Ottinger under contract for a few years here at a reasonable price. You've got your new. You went from a core 3 of Ben, Sagan, and
Radulov
to
Klinger, yeah,
Klingberg to a new core 3
of Roope, Jason,
Roope, and Heiskanen.
Yeah,
and obviously, if Ottinger keeps this up, which I think he will, he'll be that 4th. That's your big 4 at that point.
Yes,
with other interesting players in there: Ty Dellandrea, Wyatt Johnston.
Wyatt Johnston looks like a monster.
Nils,
like, can we talk about it for a minute? Where did this come from?
Yeah. So that's another really good deal. You traded your 1st round pick in this year's draft. Very risky move to get Nils Lundqvist. It's paying dividends.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to like there with this team moving forward, and I love this contract because it's the perfect deal for this player. This is a really good player.
Oh yeah, he's a great player. Perfect wing / center.
There's versatility with him
because him and Pavelski have been swapping like all the time,
and he's probably going to be a center when Pavelski's gone because you'll just put Robertson on the left and whoever else you feel on the right, and you can just move forward with him at center. But yeah, it's like this is a really good job out of Dallas Stars. A really good job.
And I mean, 8 times less than 8.5.
Yeah.
For the kind of production that this guy puts up.
The Heiskanen contract's phenomenal. This contract's phenomenal. And the beauty of the Robertson and Ottinger contracts is you get them locked up short term. You're going to have the money to pay them when their deals are up.
You can still give them huge races. Yes.
Sagan is off the book at that point, or is close to getting off the books. Like,
I think Suter is too.
Suter's got this year and 2 more years after that on us, so he'll be off the books as well.
And then what about Pavs? Pavs should be by then, right? Is he this year? Okay.
Yeah. So, and if he stays in Dallas, it's going to be on a 1 or 2 year deal, so he's not going to be an issue either. So they've structured this really, really well. Really well, and they deserve a lot of credit for this.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's not an easy situation with those 2 contracts, but they're making the best of it.
Yeah, and like you said, once Jason and Jake are due for their raises, you'll have enough money off the books in order to fill those raises.
And here's the other thing: the Heiskanen contract and this contract right here. Jason Robertson's really good. Jake Ottinger's really good, but hard to make significantly more than those guys.
Mhm.
This also helps you set a little bit of a precedent for how you're paying your players.
Yes. This is where this is the basis of how far you're willing to use certain amounts of cap.
Mm-hmm. Man,
If you're Jim Nill.
I mentioned like the perfect example of that is the Devils. 8x8 for Jack Hughes.
Yeah.
Even less, only 7.25 for Nico Hischier.
Yeah.
I mean, like Jesper Bradt's a great player, and he's gonna have to get a contract. And our buddy Alex mentioned today that like
Mm-hmm.
this is probably this contract that Roope Hintz got is probably similar to what Bratt should get under the circumstance of the Devils. We'll see how
If it's at least
out.
comparable, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if Fitz makes that comparable, which he should, but it's really hard in the structure for Jesper Bratt to demand $9+ million, even though he might be able to command that, say if he's on the open market.
How old is Hintz? He's
Hintz
around
is
our age, right?
around the same age as Bratt.
Or as Bratt. And how old is Jesper?
I think they're both 24, 25 years old.
24, 25? Okay. Because I'm thinking like David Pasternak's 26 and he's going to get, oh my God.
Okay, so Hintz just turned 26.
Okay, all right.
And Jesper Bratt is 24. Oh, he has the same birthday as me.
Yeah. You have the
So-
same birthday as the best player in the NHL.
He will turn 25 when I turn 24.
There you go. Congrats
It's
to
crazy. He got born, and then 1 year later, a legend was born.
I wonder how this compares to a lot of those guys that are going to be on the open market and looking for either an extension or a brand new, like a Pasternak, right?
Pasternak is going to get 10.5 plus. I don't know if he's going to get 11 plus, but no chance he is getting a penny under 10.5.
No,
Unless he takes a pay cut to stay in Boston.
right.
He's gonna get so much money.
Now you just got me
worth
thinking.
every penny too.
Right. And now you just got me thinking about like teams and their free agency and RFAs and like trying to get these extensions done and the way they manage cap.
Mm.
Because now you got me thinking of like the way we did Patty's deal and getting Johnny at the discount we got Johnny at.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just like thinking about all of this stuff.
Yeah, you set yourself up for Werenski makes 9.5.
Yep.
Johnny makes 9.75. Nobody on the Blue Jackets can ever make $10 million. You're not making more than Johnny Gaudreau or Zach Werenski. So
no. Unless Patty asks for 9.85.
Which would be in 4 years. We'll
Right. We got
some time there.
Yeah.
I hope he's worth that at that point.
Right.
At the same time, I hope we don't pay him that because that's a lot of money. I just hope he's worth it.
I don't know because I don't see him making more than Johnny even throughout. Yeah, at least cap hit wise. I don't
either.
I can see him being a $9 million player.
He could make more than Johnny if he went elsewhere.
If he went elsewhere, sure. But do we want that? No.
No. I prefer for that not to happen.
And the last thing I want to touch on are these Winter Classic jerseys. But let me just say, congrats to Roope Hintz. Oh my God.
Yeah, congrats to Roope Hintz. He's
great work by Jim Nill.
Yep, absolutely.
See, Don, this is what you do with a contract.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You give it to the player, you make it reasonable, and you don't give those contracts, any contracts, to shitty people.
And speaking of Boston, the Winter Classic jerseys.
So this is such a contrast. So it's Bruins and Penguins, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it's at
I am
Fenway.
yeah.
This is
I'm
the
looking at
second
these
Winter
jerseys.
Classic. This is the second outdoor game at Fenway, isn't it?
Yeah, the other one was against the Flyers. But I gotta say, man, looking at these jerseys, I'm really excited for this game between the Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Pirates.
It's such a Pirates jersey.
I'm
It's
not gonna
absolutely.
lie. And I'm not saying this because I dislike the Penguins. They've had some fantastic jerseys over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
This
Yes.
jersey looks like shit. This jersey sucks.
It's way more of a,
Boston's I like.
it's way more. The Pittsburgh one is way more of a baseball jersey, and I get that the Pittsburgh Pirates were an NHL team like right around formation,
I was not aware of this.
like way
Wow.
back in the
Yeah, I didn't
hundreds
know
of
that.
years ago.
Did they also almost relocate to Kansas City?
I don't know about Kansas City. I think they turned into Indiana at some point. I can't remember. They folded like early. But yeah, why not just let? Why? Why
I don't like it. I just don't think it's a good jersey.
The P is too much like the baseball Pirates P.
Yeah.
Like that letter is too similar to the way the baseball team does it on their cap.
If that's what they're going for, why don't they just like do baseball themed jerseys?
They're playing in a baseball stadium.
Like if that's like the actual goal here, why don't they like make a hockey jersey for like collab with the Bruins and Red Sox, collab with the Pirates and the Penguins if that's their goal. If that's not
Yeah.
the goal, then it's just a shitty design.
The striping looks like prison garb.
Yeah.
Almost. It's
This
weird.
does not look good.
It's like what?
They've had some good jerseys over the years. I like their color rush this year. Or color rush.
The reverse retro this year.
Retro.
Yeah.
Watching too much football lately. I like the reverse retro. Looks really clean. Looks really nice.
Yes, the Robo Penguin coming back is
The
beautiful.
Robo Penguin's awesome. It's amazing. The ones that they had similar to it a couple years ago, where it was like the Pittsburgh, like the diagonal Pittsburgh.
Oh, the gin and juice throwback.
Yes, those are cool too. Their regular jerseys are nice.
Yeah,
These stink.
These stink
a lot.
The gold that they use now is awesome.
Yeah.
This is this one worse than the one that they had when they played outdoors against Philly? Because both of those were hot garbage.
I would have to think back to that one. Look, Penguins, Flyers, Classic. Because I don't remember those.
Oh, it was all like black and weirdly muted and gross.
Oh, yeah.
Like look at the Flyers one too, and it's just
it's just plain, you know? Like
uh-huh.
That's the thing. Like those jerseys aren't even like necessarily like ugly. They're just boring. They're plain. There's not a lot of depth to it. I would prefer those, but
it's funny because if you made them like neon, they would look like Tron.
Do you know what my favorite? Like the most underrated Penguins jerseys. Was the 2015, I think it was, against Chicago.
I don't remember that one. Was that the purple? No, because that was because the baby blue with the circle word mark was Washington in like 08.
So
or something like that. 10-11. That one's pretty nice.
Yeah. I just like both those jerseys in those games. The Blackhawks had nice jerseys. I love the Blacks, but the white jerseys for the Penguins were just really nice too.
And then talking about the Bruins one that you brought up earlier, that we just went on a whole Penguins or like Penguins design team is hot garbage rant.
Hey, look, we wouldn't have said it if the jersey didn't stink.
I love the Bruins one though, like the meth bear on a brown.
I just love the meth bear in general.
The meth bear is awesome, and the meth
one of
bear.
my favorite logos.
Yeah, but the meth bear in brown on like a brown jersey is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like it. I know this is going to sound like a bit of a chirp. But doesn't this jersey look like something like cereal branding?
The Bruins or
The Bruins.
yes. But like
the Bruins is like
that way, doesn't it? There's a charm to it.
Yeah, the Bruins one is like, oh my god. The Bruins one looks like, what is it, Sugar Crisp?
Cookie Crisp, baby. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Sugar Crisp with Sugar Bear.
Oh, I was thinking of Cookie Crisp for some reason.
Cookie Crisp had the wolf.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It was cute.
Like, here, let me see if I could pull up picture of Sugar Bear. Oh, yeah, because it's Golden Crisp now.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Like, see, doesn't it look like this?
Yeah, a little bit.
For those of you watching on YouTube, yeah, doesn't it look like Sugar Bear? A little bit. Like if you made a Cocoa version of Sugar Bear and he was on something.
Yeah, meth.
On meth specifically, yes. Did you see that they're wearing Pooh Bear like 3 games in a row? They're wearing the reverse retro like 3 games in a row.
I did not know that.
Something like that. Yeah, I saw the schedule and I was like, wow. It's a lot of Pooh Bear going around.
That's another good jersey too. I'd wear that every game.
Oh, the reverse retro one from this year? Yeah, if they
arguably the best.
If they pull a Calgary from the other time they did this and just make that a regular third, I'd be all for that.
Yeah, me too. Wait, we actually made this a short show.
Pretty short on time, pretty reasonable time.
Wow. You know why it was?
Why? Because we didn't
say it was going to be a short show.
because we didn't call it.
Yeah.
Well, I told you I was going to stop making predictions on these because every time I say we're going to go short,
this one like a 60 to 70 minute, and then it's like 110.
This one went 2 hours.
Yeah. We didn't say anything about today, and it was like 65 minutes.
Something like that. I don't know. But here, let me make a footnote of this for Saturday.
Sure.
Because we were going to talk about this today, and we just didn't have the time to do the research on this today.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of days, we mentioned in a previous show how confusing this Rachel Doerrie and Canucks situation has been.
Yeah, because it felt like she left out of nowhere, and we were wondering why.
What happened?
And it felt like there were shots being taken at the Canucks. We didn't know why.
And we are going to explain everything on Saturday.
Yeah.
We're going to, because she finally came out.
And my hope is like, from what I've listened to so far, nobody has talked a ton about the details. I'll read into them. I'm also hoping that in this time frame, maybe something will come out in the next few days as well that we can also talk about.
Yes, and I mean, we're wishing the best for Rachel in whatever she does next, because it sounds like, and not to get too deep into it, just as I guess a teaser, it sounds like she's not going to at least want to work in the NHL ever again. And that's her decision.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we're going to support Rachel in any way we can. I'm going to start listening to Staff and Graph again. Why not?
Yeah.
At least when she's on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little teaser, and we'll recap the Jets game and see what other stories come out. And we'll be around on Saturday.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.